Following weeks of criticism, Joe Biden today said he regretted his controversial comments about working with segregationists during his time as a senator.
I regret it, and I'm sorry for any of the pain or misconception they may have caused anybody.
The course correction for Biden coming after Senator Kamala Harris criticized him for opposing the kind of school busing that benefited her.
I was bused to my elementary school.
Today, Harris continued to focus on school segregation without mentioning Biden by name.
But there's a lot to be shameful about. I mean, as you know, most recently, we have talked about America's segregated schools.
The Democratic dust-up coming as President Donald Trump took another shot at Biden today, tweeting the former vice president won't win in 2020. Joe Biden is a reclamation project, the president said. Some things are just not salvageable. Trump's broadsides against Biden are part of a 1-2 political punch, criticizing Obama as a way to wound Biden.
I call it the Obama-Biden mess.
But Biden is celebrating his service to President Obama as proof of his progressive values on race.
When I talk about the Obama years, my opponents talk about his ancient history. When others talk about something I said in the 70s, they talk about it like yesterday.
Biden made his comments in South Carolina, where African Americans will likely make up a majority of voters in the Democrats' first in the South primary.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.